This presentation provides an overview of the implementation plan I developed for actionable integration of ICT at Whoville Public School. It also provides information on the sources that I used to help me to create the plan. Clearly, there is actually no such school as Whoville Public School. I've given it a pseudonym in order to protect the people who work there. First of all, a little bit of background information on the school itself. The principal and the vice principal were both new to their positions last year and new to the school. This past year, they elevated morale, created a sense of community, sharing, and caring. The principal is a strong supporter of ICT and he models use of it daily. He's a very good overall coach, however, he's a poor communicator of expectations, vision, and policy. He's really not a pen and paper guy and is more of a bouncy coach. The VP's role, the vice principal's role this year, centered on student discipline, teacher conflict, and supply coverage, so really it was a tactical role. Moving forward, if the principal's desire is for ICT integration into teaching and learning, which it is, then using his strength in morale building and social interaction, he needs to 1. Design the vision with collaboration from the vice principal, the ICT lead, and chairs, 2. Communicate the vision, and 3. Empower other leaders to build the vision. He needs to do this in an environment where the medium of leadership is in social interaction as opposed to individual action. Ng and Ho, 2012. As the graphic shows, leadership is stretched over the practice of several leaders in their interactions with followers. Spillane, Halverson, and Diamond, 2004. It occurs in between people, between leaders, and between leaders and their followers, just like Mr. T described in his interview, which is why the orange arrows tend to go in every direction possible. I say this because the influence of distributed leadership is more than the sum of individual leaders' actions. One leader plus another leader constitutes more than just adding the individual effort of two leaders, Spillane 2006 and Ng 2012. So we end up with this interactive web of actors, artifacts like tools and resources, and situations. People with access to different knowledge and expertise work interdependently and reciprocally to perform leadership activities. Leadership activity is distributed over multiple leaders, followers, and situations. Spillane 2005. The key to success in all of this is communication. Communication which is open, consistent, and regular. Technology is the means for achieving multidisciplinary learning goals, Ertmer, 1999. Therefore, using the resources, existing curriculum, and skills, and building upon all of these to create new ways of learning. Learning will become much more than assimilation of curriculum content. The vision will be to create learning opportunities that align with the needs of 21st century learners, moving towards the use of ICT as a tool to transform process-based learning that provides enriched, higher-order thinking and critical analysis using individualized tools, methods, and processes so that all learners can achieve their potential. From the student perspective, ICT integration can serve as a significant tool to get students engaged and motivated to learn. Passy et al., 2003. It also changes the fundamental teaching paradigm from teacher-centered to learner-centered instruction. Owen and Dem, 2004. As the quote on this slide says, the pace of change confronting organizations today has resulted in calls for more adaptive, flexible leadership. Adaptive leaders work with their followers to generate creative solutions to complex problems, while also developing them to handle a broader range of leadership responsibilities. Afshari et al. And this quote really speaks to what I'm trying to describe here. So here's how that leadership would be distributed among the members of the school. The principal and the vice principal would become a solid, interdependent unit responsible for the development and articulation of the ICT vision for change. Their leadership would address second-order changes as they set the direction at the strategic and school levels. They will empower others to provide instructional modeling and coaching, in other words, instructional leadership. Their leadership model could be described as transformational, as they will be working to develop commitment and capacity to innovate. Empowerment and leadership opportunities will be created among the following: Mr. T, the ICT lead teacher and technology teacher for the school. He will provide instructional leadership on the use and integration of subject and grade-specific ICT methods. He will also source, purchase, and educate staff on new technologies. The math and literacy chairs will work with Mr. T, liaise with the principal and vice principal, and collaborate with teaching staff to develop subject-specific ICT tools, lessons, units, and plans. The divisional, primary, junior, and intermediate chairs will work in much the same way, using their subject matter expertise to provide valuable input on ICT integration plans. Teaching staff will gradually develop expertise, comfort, and skill with areas of ICT integration and will be empowered to take on leadership roles in the school. Lines of communication, if you think back to the second slide with the orange arrows, will be multidirectional. Leadership is distributed and shared. The school is developing strategies for change where subject matter experts are used to their fullest potential. Everyone has a voice. All are encouraged to participate. Leadership is not in the hands of a person or people, but resides in the interaction among them all. Ng and Ho, 2012. This kind of systems thinking, as per Sanjay, along with distributed leadership and transformational leadership, should promote the kind of paradigm shift needed. Both styles of leadership feed into each other. They are interdependent. Also, as teachers gain knowledge and skills in a supportive environment, their willingness to take risks increases, and new leaders likely emerge, possibly leaders in specific areas who are willing to coach peers who are less comfortable. Leadership at both levels provides encouragement and recognition, individualized consideration of strengths and challenges, multi-directional communication, leadership presence, and empathy. These softer aspects of leadership are already strengths with the current administration, but will become increasingly important in transforming school culture. It is designed for a school in the process of change, where everyone is learning, a learning organization, again as per Senge. In the chaos and excitement of change, everyone is also a learner. With careful leadership, the school will become a focused community of practice. Here we have the barriers. First-order barriers, or first-order changes, refer to changes in the core technology of teaching and learning. Research has indicated that an exclusive focus on first-order changes has led to the failures of many change initiatives. Second-order barriers and second-order changes are required to sustain and institutionalize first-order changes, as they generally involve changes to organizational structure and cultures, including the effort to distribute leadership. Leithwood et al., 2000. Barriers to fundamental change are referred to as second order, Brickner, 1995. These barriers are typically rooted in teachers' underlying beliefs about teaching and learning, and may not be immediately apparent to others. Kerr, 1996. Yet second-order barriers are common and might conceivably cause more difficulties than first-order barriers. Why? Because they are less tangible than first-order barriers and are personal and deeply ingrained. Ritchie and Weiberg in 1994 noted that traditional perceptions of what teaching, learning, and knowledge should look like are major limiting factors to integrating technology. When technology is integrated into the classroom, it will require a radical shift in the business of teaching. The new vision will change the teacher's role, reduce chalk and talk, and increase the need for sensitivity to individual students' needs, shifting how classrooms are laid out, how evaluation is conducted, and how teachers relate to their colleagues, as well as about a million other things to boot. First and second order barriers may never be eliminated completely, but rather they will continue to ebb and flow throughout the evolutionary integration process. Becker, 1993. At some points, first order barriers will be at the forefront. At other times, second order barriers will present the more critical challenges. Selection of resources can be tricky. Teachers tend to want to keep and renew what they're comfortable with. The ICT lead, Mr. T, in collaboration with the principal and vice principal, will source appropriate new tools. Then Mr. T will engage with the chairs to design integrated ICT plans, profiting from their content, pedagogic, and child development subject matter expertise. They will also design professional development for the teachers. The principal and vice principal will allocate time during the school day for this professional development, and this should alleviate the issue of time. Interpersonal relationships among staff are not always what we would wish them to be. However, with the emotional support and respect given to all staff by leadership, and with the ongoing efforts to create a risk-enabling learning organization, these issues ought to be minimized. Issues will always arise, and in these cases, it will be helpful that there are many leaders to whom staff can go for support or mediation in this leadership structure. Many staff are uncomfortable with the use of ICT and have never attempted to teach with it. By providing scheduled and well thought out times for staff to learn new technology skills, pedagogical skills, and how to integrate the two in a nurturing environment, this should help. The principal and vice principal were very successful in starting the process of creating trust and building communication in the school. This is a great place to start in terms of support. People are more receptive to new ideas now than they were previously. Number 2, the technology leader, Mr. T, works hard to stay up to date on current ICT developments in education, and he's well respected and well liked. 3, the subject matter experts and the school chairs have changed this year. Previously, there were 3 chairs who were all intermediate teachers. This year, we began with a math and a literacy chair, as well as a chair per division. In addition, the principal and vice principal have mentioned a desire to have 2 additional chairs to represent the French immersion and the English sides of the school. 4, emerging leaders in ICT integration. We have a number of staff who are comfortable with specific types of ICT. These teachers will likely develop into leaders. It's important to engage in succession planning as one doesn't know what the future holds. Finally, student teachers. As more faculties of education recognize the importance of ICT and education, so their programs are changing. In a school for which ICT will become a significant mind tool for its students, I think it would be clearly advantageous for the school to partner with ICT enriching faculties of education for the engagement of student teachers. Research shows that student teachers whose programs included methods courses in ICT are significantly more likely to integrate ICT in their teaching after graduating. Smith 2012 and Franklin and Moldbach 2012. In conclusion, all persons of responsibility in the school, the principal, vice principal, chairs, as well as the emerging teacher leaders, play interdependent roles in this leadership model. The principal and vice principal empower and enable instructional leadership. The chairs reinforce the strategic direction of the principal and vice principal. Therefore, the principal and vice principal are transformational leaders who enable second-order change and thereby encourage innovation. The chairs are instructional leaders in a distributed leadership model in their specific area of expertise, each supporting the other and affecting first-order change in teaching and learning. This should lead to the development of teacher capacity to implement new instructional practices. If new teachers are hired from faculties of education where ICT is part of the program, then new staff will bring new knowledge and less reluctance and fear of ICT. As the quote says, our postmodern society requires shared leadership informed by dynamic models through which to inform the process of educational renewal. Davis, 2006, page 254. I haven't included a timeline in this plan since it would have taken way too long. However, I do remember reading in Owen and Dem that culture change in an organization occurs at a glacial pace. After all, it did take 1 full year to create an atmosphere of fun in the school. To achieve the changes described in this plan would take at least several years and would never truly be complete, as the whole idea is for the school to be in a continual state of learning, change, and adaptation.